So this is a quick video, just a taster demonstration, less than 5 minutes, just to give you an insight into how we work and to demonstrate how I create bespoke financial plans for each client. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate the software that I utilize. So what we have here is a timeline that I've put together for a client. Now, this is just one particular type of client. This is a business owner who's aged 45. He's married with 2 children. I also do financial plans for people who are starting out, or people who are looking at retirement, or even clients that may be looking to mitigate their inheritance tax liabilities. But just to stay with this plan for now, what we'll see is the client's age 45, and I've sat down with the client and his wife, and we've talked about all the things that are important to them and all the things they want to do effectively for the rest of their lives. So you'll see here there's all different what we call milestone events along the timeline here: sending children to university, bar mitzvahs, bar chayils, extending the home or buying a new home. And you'll see it's quite self-explanatory across the bottom here. They want to help the children on the property ladder if they can. Now, this particular client, he says that he doesn't really want to work after 65, but when he does retire, he wants to do lots of travelling. Now, interestingly, you'll see that the plan ends at age 95. Now, you might think that's quite optimistic. What I prefer to do is have the plan lasting slightly longer. So what we don't want to do is the plan to end around here, but they live longer, and that means they'd run out of money. And the last thing to note is we've put in here some later life care for the client in case the client or his wife would need that. So let's have a look at where they are financially. So this particular client, I'm going to just go over this quite quickly. If you want to look at the detail, you can pause the video. But essentially, from the business, he's taking salary and dividends. His wife's also taking a salary in line with a personal allowance. They have a business, obviously. They also have a buy-to-let property. Plus, they also have some savings, some joint savings. They've got a couple of old ISAs they haven't done a great deal with for a while, and they'll also be entitled to the state pension when they do retire. They have a home, their own residential property, and what we've got here is their living expenses are £75,000 at the moment. So what I'm going to do is show you effectively what's going to happen to their finances as time goes on. Now, before I do this, I'm going to say to you, when we're looking at the plan, blue is good and red is bad. Okay, so have that in mind as you look at this plan. So straight away, what we've got, just to explain what we're seeing here, so we've got the timeline again, and we've got each of the events on here that I detailed earlier on. What we've got here is the client he's working up to the age of 65, and then at 65 he stops work. Now what we've got here is this black line is the cost of his living, so that's the cost of his living should he do all the things he wants to do. What we've got is that the red in the plan is the shortfall. So the red in the plan assumes that he continues spending money that he doesn't have, okay, assuming he wants to do all these things here. So what we see, to make it quite straightforward, is from age 65 stops working, and he's got about 1.5 years or thereabouts before there's a shortfall in the plan. So effectively, it's my job to remove the red from this plan. It's my job to ensure that he can do all the things he wants to do along the bottom here and still not run out of money. So how do I do that? Well, what I do is I introduce various different financial strategies. And what I do is I layer these financial strategies so that we can remove the red from the plan. So this is strategy 1. I layer another financial strategy. And again, after we import a very second strategy, we see that all the red is removed from the plan. Now, what are these? Well, they could be anything from reviewing the existing portfolios, utilising all the tax-free allowances, boosting the existing portfolios that it has in place. He could buy another buy-to-let, he could sell a buy-to-let, he could downsize. Each different scenario is based on the client's financial circumstances. Now, a great feature of what I do here is, there's one thing that we can say when it comes to planning, is one constant in life, and that's change. So things can change. For example, changes in tax, changes in markets, new births, divorces, inheritances, all these different things. So what the client might say to me is, actually, Mark, perhaps I'll work a little bit later. So what happens if I work a bit later? Well, I can model that in the plan. So what I've done is I've put in him a few years later, and we see that there's more blue in the plan if he works later. But he says, actually, no, I don't want to do that. What if one of the children don't go to university? So what I can do, I can move these things around, or take them off, in fact, and see how that impacts upon their plan. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is what we call real financial planning. And if you have a financial advisor that's not doing this, I don't personally believe they're doing their job properly. So for me, this is what we call a financial roadmap for a client, so they can see effectively what's going to happen to their finances. It's effectively bringing the future into the present so they can do something about it now, and they can achieve their objectives. And what I do is I have clients who come and see me each year, and they'll come in and see me, and they'll say, Mark, what's happening with my plan? How much red is there in the plan? And as time goes on, they would call me up during the year and say, look, Mark, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, and Z financially. How's that going to impact upon my plan? So effectively, this is a bespoke financial plan for each client to show them how they can achieve all their financial objectives. Now, if you know of a client that you think would benefit, or someone that you think would benefit from having a plan of this nature, I would normally sit down with a client and offer a free, no obligation, look-see meeting, really to assess where they are and how I might be able to add value. It's completely free, and it's really to see how I can assist them moving forward. So I'm just going to leave you this slide, which is just to confirm that my company is authorised and regulated by Financial Conduct Authority. That's a really important point. And of course, the other warning when it comes to investments that you'll see at the bottom, the investment can go up as well as down, and it may not get back the full amount invested. Okay, so if you do have any questions or you want to contact me, feel free to contact me at the details here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.